Salute, cavalry. This time we're going to talk about shallow hook thumb rings, how to use them. This is not a culture video, this is not a history video, this is just how to use a shallow hook thumb ring. So first of all, let's talk about fitment. If you look at the bore in the middle of the ring, it's not perfectly round, it's ovular. And if you look at your thumb knuckle, it's wide from side to side and narrow from front to back. So when you wear the thumb ring, it should fit sideways over the thumb, but when you turn it, for when you use it, there should be no way to pull it off. So this should be as tight as possible to get that on there when turned sideways, so that when you turn it 90 degrees, there's no way for this to come off and it won't choke up around the knuckle. You want this thumb ring to fit under the knuckle, not over the knuckle. It should be sitting on the bone, not on the joint. So how do you measure for this? Most thumb ring makers have sizes that correspond to usually metric. So if you use some calipers and measure the width of your thumb and the height of your thumb, it should get you a pretty good estimate. But to really know, you have to try on rings. One company, Custom Thumb Rings, they make a ring sizer board, and that's pretty handy, but the way that your thumb fits through the board is not the same as it fits in the rings. To know what size ring you use, you really have to try on rings. So if you're fortunate enough to have a store that lets you try these on, try on actual rings. That's the only way to know what size you actually wear, because the way that this fits over your thumb when you put it on is not the same as calipers or a flat board with holes cut in it. If you do not have access to thumb rings that you can try on, take said measurement as per the instructions of whatever ring maker and go a size up and a size down if you can, because it's going to be approximate. And once you actually put this on, the way that your thumb tissue moves around under the ring, it's going to be a little different than the calipers. Do not sleep on the sizing thing. These need to fit, they need to fit right. One of the most common things with thumb ring pain is that the thumb ring is a little too large. So if you can slip it on and not quite pull it off, but it chokes up around the joint of the knuckle and not behind the bone of the knuckle, it's going to hurt. That's the most common reason. Or sometimes it'll pinch. If it's too big, it'll pinch. So if you have, let's say, a metric size that your ring maker uses, and your 18 millimeter doesn't fit and your 19 millimeter hurts a little bit, you might be a half size. You might be at 18 and a half. So this is Vermeil Archery makes these, and they don't make half sizes right now. They don't do half millimeters, which is a shame, because some people are not 18 or 19 or 20 millimeters. They're 18 and a half, 19 and a half. And that half millimeter, when your thumb is that small, makes a big difference. That's the difference between a fitting ring and a ring that doesn't fit. So don't sleep on ring fitment. This has to work, or nothing you do moving forward is going to save you from pain from your thumb ring. Okay, next, how do you put it on? It's an ovoid bore in the ring, and I think people know that it works by hooking over the front of the string, and because of that, I have seen several people put it on upside down so that the point or the long side of the ring is pointing away from the tip of the thumb, like this. Now that's not a crazy idea. You see, I do get a pretty good hook on the ring that way, but that's not what that's for. The reason for this long part is to provide a surface for the string to slide across, so that the string isn't sliding across flesh once the string clears the bottom of the ring. So the hook part is actually underneath. It's the flat part under the ring. So when you wear it, it's going to be point up toward the tip of the thumb. So you'll put it on sideways like this. You turn it 90 degrees, and then when the string pushes it into place, you can see I have a kind of landing strip here for the string to slide off of. And that's going to help us keep some of that string speed and give us a nice clean release. Okay, we have a ring that fits. We know how to put it on. Now, how do we use it? It works like a trigger. So the string has positive engagement underneath the front of the ring. And because of the angle, the string is not permitted to leave until you let it. So the string will want to go into the corner between the thumb ring and the thumb. So it looks like this. See, and we catch that string underneath the lip of that ring. Be careful when you start using the thumb ring. Your brain is used to using your thumb to grab things. So the thumb tip will incidentally cross the string when we make our lock, but it's not because you're grabbing the string with the thumb. All right, that should be relaxed. When you grab the string, it causes this little tendon to pop up, and some people have stony thumbs and it doesn't bother them. But if you tense this, that little tendon pops up, and if that engages with a stiff and modern skinny string, that can be painful. And it doesn't help your shooting. So the thumb needs to be relaxed, and you need to trust that your thumb ring is hanging onto the string. So I recommend getting familiar with that. Just plucking the string and feeling where that engagement is. The way that this works with the arrow, I only use a single nock point, and it goes above the nock. So the nock goes under the nock point. The thumb ring is going to slide over the string tightly so that the string doesn't pile up the skin of the thumb, but fits snugly between the thumb ring and the thumb. See, so there's no pinched skin in there. And then I'm going to push the thumb ring up against the nock, and then the nock bottoms out against the nock point. So I've got this nice secure assembly here holding the nock in place. Okay, so that's what the thumb is doing. Now we're going to use our index finger to both hold the arrow in place against the bow. So now you see the arrow is secure without falling off because the index finger is holding it on. And simultaneously, my index finger is going to hold down my thumb. Now, the deeper you reach in with your index finger to trap the thumb, the more leverage advantage you have. The index finger at the tip, it bends left and right easily. And the idea with trapping the thumb is that the thumb wants to open this way and the index finger wants to open this way. So when you lay your index finger on top of your thumb, the thumb can't escape. And the farther out your finger is, the easier it can escape. All right, so if you use the tip of your index finger, you have to squeeze a little bit with your index finger to make it work. And we don't want that. We want everything to be relaxed so that it takes care of itself. So we're going to get our finger deep in there. We're going to kind of reach. We're going to reach a little bit with that index finger. We're going to stay close to that arrow. We're going to stay close to that arrow. And then we're going to get that second joint, if we can reach. We're going to get that second joint of the index finger shrouding the thumb. Now I have what we call a lock. All right, so my thumb is pushing the nock against the nock point. My index finger is holding the arrow and the thumb in place, and I've got a lock. I'm good to go. This will hold on to itself. These three fingers, your last three fingers, these don't do anything. They're out of play unless you are holding an arrow or arrows in your draw hand. These don't make a fist. Okay, that's a traditional way to do it, and as far as I can tell, it's a throwback to holding onto arrows in your draw hand, and we don't want to do that. And that's because if you have a bow in your left hand and arrows in your right hand, what hands do you have for your horse? The answer is none. You have no hands for your horse. So when we do hold arrows in the hand, we're going to hold them in the bow hand. All right, so the thumb ring is tight to the string, so we're not pinching any flesh. The thumb ring is pushing the nock into the nock point. The index finger is tight to the string and tight to the arrow, holding the arrow into the bow and trapping the thumb. Now there's one more thing we have to do. We're going to turn your knuckle towards your face. It's almost like you're turning a key. So we've got our lock, and you're going to turn your knuckle. That's going to give it a little bit of tension and help hold the arrow on there. That's going to help close up this space a little more nicely. It's going to help put everything at the right angle. When you're shooting, if your index finger crosses the string will hit you in the finger, and that's a bit annoying, but it also throws off your shot. So when we turn the string, we want to do it until the index finger is out of the path of the string. So there we have it. Once you turn the key, you've got your lock and it's ready to shoot. When you're beginning, you only need to pull it back an inch or two to eject the arrow. And I suggest practicing like that for a little while. When you think you're ready to start shooting full draw, when you have the confidence in your retention with the thumb ring, then I recommend trying with low poundage. That way, if you have something wrong with what you're doing, it will be uncomfortable instead of it being painful. You don't want to be under full draw at high poundage and then discover something isn't right, something doesn't fit, something hurts. So practice at first at a low poundage if you have a low poundage bow to practice with. By the way, I think you should keep a low poundage bow for when you're doing any kind of experimentation. But there you have it. Go get some reps, go get lots of practice, get good.